This is my experience with a love-hate relationship with weed. I'm sharing it in hopes that it helps you and that you find some value in this video. I started smoking weed at 12 years old. I can still remember the first time I did it. It was at Highlands Park in 1977. We were skateboarding on chalk wheels still. And I immediately was scared because I knew my parents wouldn't approve, and it was very illegal then. And so there was some fear there, but there was also some excitement. And it felt like I was part of this tribe, and I wasn't a very socially skilled kid. And weed certainly didn't help my social skills, but that tribe was something that felt cool to be a part of. It's the people that smoked weed, and I loved that part about weed. I loved the camaraderie. I loved the we're in this together feel. I loved the music aspect of listening to music with people and smoking weed. I loved the laughter. I loved the munchies. And as a young man growing up in Southern California, it was fun. But I also had immediate consequences for my weed habit. I wasn't really gifted in school to begin with. I don't think I was dumb. I just didn't apply myself. And weed certainly did not help that. And again, like I said, socially, when I was high, it was cool when I was with the other guys that were high. But in real life, at school or out in the world anywhere, I was just so uncomfortable when I was high with people. I felt like I couldn't speak. I was so afraid of what people were thinking, and I hated that aspect of it. And that experience of having a love-hate relationship carried on with me for years, and I had this internal battle of I loved getting high, but I hated the consequences of getting high. And the consequences were many. I do believe it was my experience, this is my experience, that emotionally, if you start a weed habit, you're pretty much at that emotional development. And it's very difficult to grow emotionally. And maybe that's because I started so young, possibility. But I was very immature, well into my 30s. And I knew it, and I felt really insecure and frustrated. And then I would treat those feelings with getting high and isolating and being in nature and listening to music, and all those things are positive. But I was running. I was running with weed, and I struggled with this love-hate relationship with weed for decades. And I tried quitting so many times, and then the same thing would happen over and over again. I didn't have any other way to feel really good. And some things, sports, I was good at sports, and that felt good. And I did improve socially when I wasn't getting high, but that that seed that had been planted, like everything would be better right now with some weed, kept returning. And I would always go back to weed. And if you take a little time off weed and then smoke weed again, it feels profound. The epiphanies, the sense of spirituality, the music, joy for a short period of time. But it always ended up, for me, it was kind of like, and this is embarrassing, but it was kind of like masturbation. Smoking weed was like mental masturbation. Felt great for a little while. Yeah, but then when you were done, you're like, oh my God, I'm isolated. I'm alone. I'm lonely. I'm frustrated. I don't like the way I feel right now. I'm embarrassed to be around people. I'm embarrassed to let people know what's really going on with me, because I would be shunned. I would be like, all in my mind. I went on with this love-hate relationship for, like I said, decades. I finally hit a real bottom with it. I finally hit a real bottom in 2005. I took a couple bong rips, and I had like a panic attack, anxiety attack, whatever you want to call it. And I fell down and smashed dishes all over, and I was shaking on the ground, and something snapped in me, and I knew it was time to just step out of that relationship with weed. And I was able to do that for 13 years. I was abstinent from it. And I grew up, but I had a long way to go. And I still had those feelings of inadequacy and not living up to whatever ideal I had in my mind about the way I should be, about the way I should feel, about my accomplishments. And, without having weed to deal with that stuff, I had to grow, and I had to find other ways to feel good. And I found those ways. But what happened was the love-hate relationship with it, the love part, started coming back. I started thinking about smoking weed like romantically, like, just a little vacation on the beach. Just take some rips and jump in the water and, listen to play some guitar. And I entertained that fantasy for a few years before I actually broke down and started smoking again. And I was in a really shitty place in my life. I was really down. I was down on myself. I was going through a divorce, and I had some resentment towards some people in my life that I just dealt with poorly. And I'd never been to a dispensary. I went to a dispensary and I took 2 hits of some high-grade sativa, and it was profound. I thought, what have I been doing? This is the answer. And then just like that, I was a daily smoker again, right back into that roller coaster love-hate relationship. I was right back to that super uncomfortable teenager. And that last time I quit, which is coming up on 6 years now, the same thing happened. I had a panic attack, and that was it. And I haven't smoked any weed since then or used it in any way. And it's slow growth in life. And that's one of the things that weed was really did warp my sense of reality, because I was so used to instant gratification with weed. With weed, you just feel good instantly. I mean, you just feel good instantly. And I had like trained myself to somehow believe that that's reality. That you don't have to grow. And growing is challenging, and growing is uncomfortable. And weed is so soft and safe and warm that whenever I got any sort of a discomfort, I would go back to it. And without it, I couldn't deal with the discomfort. And again, it's really like a really super immature person. And so I've had to learn to look at growth differently and look at discomfort differently. And I'm still learning to do it, but I now recognize that discomfort is really a true north in life. Is that I have these urges and I walk in that direction and there's going to be some discomfort. And it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep going forward? Or are you going to shrink back? And when you shrink back and you don't have weed to feel good with it, it's miserable. It is. You don't like yourself, and you really have to process what is going inside. And it's an inside job growing up from being a weed addict. And I'm so grateful today that I am not in the love-hate relationship with weed anymore. I have no relationship to it. I talk about it on this channel to help people to escape it. I really believe that's the best way. I know it was for me. I tried to make it work for decades, and I just could not do it. And today I'm growing up. I mean, I'm almost 60 years old. And, it's humbling to be saying that, yeah, I'm 60 and still growing up. Yeah, that's the truth. However, there's sure is a freedom in forward movement and not being stuck in that cycle. And life is really good and life is hopeful. And I'm learning to accept myself for, the things that I'm not super proud of. And, as like cheesy as it sounds, I'm learning to love myself. And one of the ways I learn to love myself is not think about myself so much, is to think about other people, think about being useful, do things, create things, give to other people, create some positive energy for other people. That turns me on today. Yeah. And that turned me on in the weed days too. But like I said, that was a life that I'm so grateful that I've escaped. And if you need help escaping with it, you can book a call with me. Just click the link below. That's what I got. I know it's kind of a long one today, but hey, it's good to be making videos again. Much love. Peace.